The echo of your heels clicking against the polished marble floors of the skyscraper resonated through the grand lobby as you strode towards the elevator. Employees bowed their heads slightly, greeting you with respectful nods as you passed. The scent of fresh coffee and crisp paperwork filled the air, a signature aroma of the high end architectural firm you had built your name in. With your phone pressed to your ear, you adjusted the strap of your handbag. Jungkook, when are you coming back? Your voice was soft, but there was an underlying longing. Jungkook's deep voice hummed through the speaker, laced with exhaustion yet unwavering authority. Soon, baby. Just wrapping up some business. This mission took longer than expected. Miss me? The elevator doors slid open and you stepped inside, pressing the button for your floor. Maybe a little. Jungkook clicked his tongue. Liar, you miss me like crazy. You rolled your eyes playfully. Fine, I miss you a lot. Happy? Very. His smirk was almost audible. Are you eating well? Sleeping enough? Yes, Cook, I'm not a child. You are my life. That's more important. Your heart did a little flip at his words. I have a meeting with a new client, high profile, so I might be busy today. Who? Jungkook's voice darkened slightly. You glanced at your assistant who handed you a file, James Park. Ever heard of him? Jungkook's silence was deafening for a moment. No, but be careful. High profile clients think they own the world. You smiled, shaking your head. I can handle myself. Call me if anything feels off. I will. Now go finish your mission and come back to me. You got it, baby. The call ended just as you stepped out of the elevator and into the conference room where James Park was waiting. He was tall, impeccably dressed, and exuded an air of arrogance that set off warning bells in your mind. Miss Fine, finally, we meet in person. A pleasure. He greeted, standing up with a fake smile. You extended a professional hand. Mr. Park, I hope we can create something incredible together. His grip lingered longer than necessary, but you withdrew your hand smoothly, taking your seat at the head of the table. Your assistant placed the blueprints in front of you and you dove into business mode. As we discussed, the design aligns with your initial request. You begin flipping open the plans, a blend of modern architecture with timeless elements. We have tailored everything to fit your vision while maintaining structural integrity. He nodded, but his eyes weren't on the blueprints, they were on you. So impressive, a woman in your position, handling such power, making decisions that shape the skyline. It's fascinating. You lifted a brow. I assume you hired me for my expertise, not my gender, Mr. Park. A smirk played on his lips. Of course, but let's not pretend men don't have a natural instinct to admire beauty where it stands. You ignored the comment, turning the page to highlight key details regarding the cost breakdown. He leaned forward, tapping his fingers against the table. Tell me, Miss Ryan, is it exhausting being in a field dominated by men? You sighed internally. You had encountered men like him before, ones who mistook professionalism for an invitation. Not at all. I let my work speak for itself. Ah, he chuckled. And yet I imagine a woman like you must face unique challenges. Your patience thinned. I prefer to focus on solutions rather than challenges. His smirk widened, and before you could react, his hand brushed against your knee under the table. You froze. It was subtle, as if testing boundaries. Thinking it was an accident, you shifted slightly, putting space between you. But then his fingers trailed higher, your grip on your pen tightened. Mr. Park, you said, voice calm but firm. I believe we should maintain professionalism. He didn't move his hand. Come on, Miss Ryan. A woman like you should expect a little admiration. You exhaled slowly, reining in the urge to break his wrist right then and there. Admiration and disrespect are two different things. He chuckled, finally leaning back, but the arrogance in his gaze remained. You are too stiff, loosen up. I can make things very comfortable for you. You know, connections, luxury, things women desire. A slow, deadly smile stretched across your lips. Comfortable? Of course, a woman like you deserves to be pampered, taken care of. Your fingers curled into a fist beneath the table. You could already hear Jungkook's voice in your head. You want me to handle this? But you didn't need him for this. Not for a man like James Park. In a swift motion, you grabbed his wrist under the table, twisting it with precise force. A surprised grunt escaped him, his cocky smirk vanishing instantly. I suggest you keep your hands to yourself, Mr. Park, he said smoothly, tightening your grip, or you might find them broken. His face twisted in discomfort, but he forced a chuckle. Feisty, aren't you? You leaned in slightly, voice turning cold. No, I just don't tolerate men who think their wealth entitles them to disrespect. The room was silent, his jaw was tensed, but he knew better than to challenge you. Slowly you released his wrist and he pulled his hand back. You straightened. Now, if you're still interested in doing business, we will keep it strictly professional. Otherwise, this meeting is over. For the first time, his confidence wavered. He cleared his throat, reaching for the blueprints as if the last 5 minutes hadn't happened. Of course, Miss Ryan. Strictly professional. Good. You closed your files and stood up. I'll have my assistant send over the final draft. If you need anything else, go through the official channels. With that, you turned on your heel and left. Head high, unshakable. James Park would never dare cross that line again. Later that evening, your best friend pulled up in front of your office. You had texted her asking to be picked up. You weren't in the mood to drive, not after everything that happened. You slid into the passenger seat, exhaling deeply as she started the engine. What happened? She asked gently, eyes flickering towards you. You rubbed your temples. It was the new client, James Park. The owner of Park Holdings? What did he do? That asshole thought just because he has money, he could treat me however he wanted. You clenched your fist. He kept making these creepy comments like how a woman like me should expect admiration, and then he touched me under the table. She gasped. No way. Are you serious? Yeah, I warned him. Taught him a lesson too. You looked out the window fuming, but it still pisses me off. Men like that think they own the world. You were so caught up in your frustration that you didn't notice the subtle shift in the car's atmosphere. You didn't notice the soft click of a safety of a gun. You didn't notice the shadow in the backseat slowly rising. Why didn't you tell me? You froze as soon as you heard his voice. You turned slowly, eyes widening when you saw him. He was seated in the back seat, eyes dark, jaw clenched, hands already flexing in his lap as he stared straight ahead. Jungkook, what are you doing here? When did you come back? I came to surprise you. He replied, his voice low and terrifyingly flat. Didn't expect to hear that. You reached for him, panic rising. Jungkook, no, I handled it. He looked at you, and it wasn't the man who kissed you goodbyes in the mornings. This was the Mafia boss, the nightmare in the city's underground. He touched you. And I broke his ego. He won't do it again. Now please calm down. That's not enough. He can't sit silently after knowing a man laid his dirty hands on you. He opened the car door. Jungkook, please, you cried, grabbing his arm. You knew he would only do worse and you didn't want him to get in any trouble. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to do this. He turned to you, eyes softer now but still simmering with rage. You are mine, boy. No one touches what's mine. I know, but let me handle it my way. You begged, his jaw clenched. He looked torn, then without another word, he stepped out and disappeared into the night. No, Jungkook, please. Oh my god, he's going to make things worse. You looked at Nancy. Damn it, Nancy, we have to try. What if he goes too far? You have seen him like this before. When it comes to you, he doesn't have limits. James Park was lounging in his private suite on the 34th floor, glass of whiskey in hand, still smirking about the earlier meeting like he didn't just grope a mafia boss's woman. He didn't know the devil had already been unleashed. Suddenly the lights cut off. Hello? He called, sitting up. Vaughn, what the hell is going on? A second later, the emergency backup kicked in, but only dim red lightning filled the room. A cold gust of wind swept through the open balcony doors. Comfortable, Mr. Park? James froze, standing at the balcony, black coat whipping in the wind, was John Jungkook. The cold glint in his eyes could have frozen hell itself. You should be. After all, you touched what's mine. How the hell did you get in here? Who are you? Jungkook slowly stepped forward. Someone you'll wish you never met. James reached for his phone. Jungkook kicked the table across the room with one swift blow. It shattered like paper. Call someone, please. I dare you. James stumbled back, shaking. Wait, I didn't know she was yours. Jungkook grabbed him by the collar and slammed him into the glass wall. Did you think it was okay because she's a woman? Did you think her silence meant consent? James whimpered as Jungkook pulled a sleek blade from inside his coat, the metal gleaming wickedly under the emergency light. I wanted to feel fear, the same fear she must have felt the moment your filthy hand touched her. Please, I didn't mean. Shut up, he shouted, cutting him off. With a vicious swing, Jungkook slashed the chair behind James, the blade just inches from his neck. Then he slammed the man to the floor, putting his boot over his chest. You see these hands? He held them up, his tattoos catching the glow. They build empires and they bury men. James trembled beneath him, stammering apologies, but Jungkook wasn't done. He pulled out a small silver ring, a knuckle duster, customized with an engraved black dragon. Slipping it on, he crouched beside James. You won't die tonight, James. No, that would be merciful. What are you? He felt a punch landed, bone cracked, and blood spilled. You're going to remember this. Every time you reach for a drink, every time you dare look at another woman with those lecherous eyes. And then he hit him again. You thought you could touch her and walk away with your spine intact? James whimpered through the blood in his mouth, but Jungkook couldn't stop. His fist collided with flesh again and again until the bone beneath them gave in, until James's face was no longer recognizable. He looked at her like she was something to be devoured, to be played with. He yanked James's head back by the hair, forcing his half-conscious eyes to meet his. She is not yours to look at. He threw another punch. She is not yours to want. She is mine. Every smile, every breath, every inch of her is mine. Another and another. She is the air I breathe, the light in every dark part of me, the only softness left in my world. He slammed his fist one final time into James's jaw, and the man went limp, unconscious, broken and bloodied, slumped in the chair like a discarded puppet. You don't even deserve to bleed for her, he said, panting. He stepped back slowly, chest heaving, his knuckles dripped red, skin torn open, but he didn't even feel the pain. Not when you were involved, not when another man dared to see his woman with anything but respect. Namjoon moved forward, tensed. Boss. But Jungkook didn't answer. He just stood there, frozen in that spot, staring at the ruined man before him. His voice came low. I told her I wouldn't do this. I tried to walk away. He glanced down at the blood on his hands. But no man touches what's mine, no man thinks of her and lives to tell the tale. He turned slowly, walking out like death leaving a battlefield. Everyone was alerted when the door creaked open. The scent of blood followed him. Jungkook stepped into Nancy's apartment. He knew you will be here only. His dark coat soaked at the edges, knuckles bruised and split. But his eyes searched for only one thing: you. And when he saw you, curled up on the couch, still in the same black dress from earlier, your knees pulled to your chest, eyes wide and wet, his heart did something it hadn't done since childhood. It softened. You stood up slowly. "You're going to be my death, Jungkook." He didn't speak. You crossed the room in 3 strides and threw yourself into his arms. His arms wrapped around you instantly, tight, possessive, trembling. "I would burn the world before I let anything happen to you." Nancy glanced at Namjoon. "We should give them a moment." Namjoon nodded, then looked at Jungkook. "I'll take care of the cleanup." Jungkook didn't even look up. His face was buried in your hair. Not a moment too late. Nancy and Namjoon quietly slipped out. Silence fell, but it wasn't empty. It was thick, full of the sound of your heartbeat against his chest, and the way his fingers shook slightly as they gripped your waist. "You promised you wouldn't do anything, and I broke it because I saw red the moment I heard his name. I didn't want you to get hurt." "I would bleed for you 1,000 times over, but I won't let someone else touch you and breathe afterward." You pulled away slightly, cupping his face. "You scare me sometimes. I scare myself when it comes to you. But you love me." "More than my own life." "Then stay, just for tonight. No blood, no revenge, just us. Always only us." You led him to the couch. Both of you sat down. You began gently wiping his knuckles with a warm towel Nancy had left out. "He won't hurt anyone again, will he?" "Not in this lifetime." "Good." Jungkook watched you as if memorizing every flicker of your lashes, every curve of your lips. "Do you know what you mean to me?" You slowly looked at him. "Tell me." "You are the silence after gunfire, the warmth in winter, the only thing that calms the storm inside me." You smiled faintly, "And you are the chaos I can't let go of." He leaned closer, his eyes landed on your lips. "Then don't." "I won't." Your lips met his, and the kiss was nothing like the violence that had come before. It was gentle, worshipful, a man who would kill for you, falling to his knees in the form of a kiss. "If anyone ever tries again, I won't just break them. I'll erase them. I don't want you to lose yourself. You are the only part of me that is still human." He rested his forehead against yours. "Stay mine. I will always." The clock ticked softly. Your fingers tangled in his hair, yours, his, blood, loyalty, obsession, love, a story no one would understand but you do. And in the quiet night, with the taste of fire and salt on his lips, Jungkook whispered,